it that have run into it. There's some other agents I know have already dealt with some of these issues, one of which are getting transcripts from the IRS for the lenders. The IRS has stopped doing that, and now there's a portal that you and your clients can go to get those transcripts for the lender, but it takes, from what I understand, George, 5 to 10 days to do it. So if it's going to take you extra time to walk your clients through these, potentially we need to have extra time in our contracts to make sure we get all these things done, right? So if we were used to writing 30-day contracts, I think it's very likely we should be writing 45 to 50-day contracts right now, if not longer, depending on the loan type and depending on the client and the transcripts and changes that are happening. So on Friday, I'm going to have a housing market update where I'm going to invite lenders and title people that they can keep us up to date on how we should be writing contracts. And on the same time, it's how we receive the contracts. Because right now, if I'm a listing agent and I don't know what's going on, then I'm potentially going to get a contract that has this date pushed way far back, and I don't know how to communicate that to my seller. I push back and we push these dates forward, and we end up with an issue later on down the road. We've got to realize that the closings and activities we're doing today were from work that we did 30, 60, 90 days ago, and the contracts and the clients that we have today are going to impact us 30, 60, 90 days from today. So we have to do some forecasting in our business to say, there's got to be some changes that we do. We need to write better contracts. We need to write better offers, in the sense that I'm going to give somebody a summary of this offer, and I might put in there that they're a doctor, or that they're in an industry, let's say the grocery store, where we're not worried if they're going to have a job in the next 30 days to be able to close and be able to get proof of income for the lender, right? So potentially we want to write this into the offers, or write this into the summary of the offer for the sellers, so that they're confident that this is a great offer for the buyers, right? And so I want to have these discussions around what can we do to better write offers, and as listing agents receive offers at a high level, okay? Anybody have anything? George, thanks for putting that. The number to the IRS to get the transcripts is there in the chat box. So make sure you take a look at that. And if you want more details, just reach out to your lender and say, hey, what do I need to know about these transcripts and what I need to do for my clients? Does anybody else want to comment on that? Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, so Friday we're gonna have another training.
George is muted. He's trying to talk.
Oh, sweet. Sorry.
My bad.
There we go.
We're gonna hit some road bumps, some little ones, some big ones. The key to this is persistence, not panic, and persistence, and push through all the obstacles like the transcripts. Gosh, you know what? These lenders are overwhelmed, so we have to pick up the phone and do it for them, unfortunately, at this time. But we're going to get more speed bumps. So I just don't panic and push through these times, because it'll all pass.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Mel put in the chat box as well. Thanks, George. Mel put in the chat box, text me, or if anybody needs tax help, sorry, I don't know how to read clearly. If anybody needs tax help, reach out to Mel. He's a CPA. He's been doing taxes for, I'm not going to age Mel. He's just been doing taxes for a little while. He knows what he's talking about. So his little, his hand gestures are definitely G-rated. We're good. They're G-rated hand gestures. Those are good. I only have like 8 people with video, so it's really weird to look at this whole screen of no faces. So that's the idea around these lending options. We have to stay up to date. The NAR is putting out a ton of information about how agents can go get small business loans. If you have staff that you pay salary to, they have small business loans. Both the federal government does, the Utah government has loans, SBA loans that they're giving out, And also locally at the St. George level, St. George has loans that they're giving out to small businesses. That money will dry up very quickly. If you are interested in getting a small business loan to carry your expenses over or to pay your staff, those turn into grants later on when you don't have to pay back. So if you're using the funds based on the criteria that they tell you to use them, it's a grant. You don't have to pay it back. So if you're looking for a small business loan, McCray Hepler in his email today's market update sent out, he sent the links to all 3 of those resources to apply for those small business loans, those SBA loans. But the funds are going to dry up quickly. I've already heard Marcus and Matt Green were telling me that they finished their application, but they're getting word from some of their friends that run banks and run loans that those funds are already starting to dry up. Everybody rushed to it. It was earmarked for a certain amount of money, and it's already starting to dry up pretty quick. So don't delay on trying to get an SBA loan. If you want more information about it, let me know, and I can connect you with somebody that can talk to you at a higher level about it. But that's something that we need to look to. So that's all I want to say about that. So Fridays at 9 o'clock, we'll do market updates that are specific to how to write contracts and any changes in lending and title. Anybody have questions about that or want to talk about that? Okay, so we're 19 minutes in. I want to get to action items. Who's been doing some trainings, either whether it's KWRI or whether it's Brian Buffini or whether it's in the Ninja trainings or NAR trainings? Somebody come to the table with some trainings that they've gone over they want to bring to the group. I'm going to have to start assigning people.
I actually did a training today that it was through BombBomb. They did like a webinar type thing, and it was actually really interesting. They mainly talked about, you know, the videos that you're sending out to people, like make it just personal and just be human. Like that was just the main message, was just everyone's in this together right now, and people just want to see your face. They just want to have that human interaction, and they gave tips on different videos that you should probably be putting out right now, like thank you, just checking in, things on your business, obviously, like being over communicative with it, and just all of that. It was really good, and just the main message, the takeaway there was just be human and know that everyone's working from home right now and things happen and it's okay.
Yeah, that it's okay. It's okay to be genuine. I did my BombBomb. My son really wanted to be in the room while I had to shoot that video for the invite. He's cute, but I think there's some authentic nature to our business in general. I think it's interesting that it's taking this event to get us to that authentic nature of who we are and as people. I don't think we should stop doing that. I think this is something that everybody wants in their real estate agent. They want this in their business life. They don't want this buttoned up, perfect version of people in their lives that aren't genuine and honest. So it's really interesting to me, this conversation. I love this conversation because my wife and I were talking about this late one night about how, you know, every issue has its silver linings, right? And there's been some like memes and things like that talking about how this might be what it needed. This might be what we all needed to do a couple of things in our life and change some things in our life that we've always wanted to do, but we couldn't, right? Somebody just pushed pause on all of our lives and made us rethink how we do everything. I think that's incredible. I think this is an incredible opportunity. There's a lot of fear around that because people don't like change. George going through a massive change in his business and in his life by bringing his whole team into KW. And this is amplified by 10,000 times, right? We all are running through this massive life change. And I think it's a cool opportunity. I love that. Kaylee, thank you for bringing that up because that genuineness is what our clients want from us. I think we're going to connect with our clients better if we're more authentic and genuine, even past this time where we don't get the option to not be genuine. This is a moment we can take advantage of that. Thank you for bringing that up. Who else has any comments on that?
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
So the Las Vegas Market Center, I've been doing I'm between both market centers all the time. But they're doing a webinar on doing a virtual listing presentation and buyer presentation.
Cool.
I think that would be super cool if we could do something like that, if we could get a couple of people that would be willing to do that. I haven't done a virtual one yet. So Vegas one is on the 7th. I can bring back information, or we can set one up for our office.
Yeah, I've done that a couple of times, namely because I'll have clients somewhere else in the country and they'll want to list their house, but they have no plans on coming to St. George. I actually sold a house for a guy who's still on vacation. He's in Nauvoo. He's still in Nauvoo. I had his stuff that I took out of the house for him because he had no family to come pick it up. I had his stuff for like 3 months. So I've done these a few times of doing these listings. I would love to put something together, and I'm sure if we mastermind around some of the agents that have already done it, we could come up with something good. Kathy, when is that class in Vegas? I think that was her dog barking. She's probably yelling.
My dog barking, sorry. That bird flew through my yard.
Awesome.
April 7th at noon.
April 7th at
They're
noon.
doing the virtual listing presentation.
Will you reach out to them and see if they'd be okay if they shared that with us, and we could actually jump in on that? There's no reason that we have to create our own thing. If they can go through it, and then we could do like a discussion afterward where we just our office says, Vegas is a little bit different in these ways. How can we apply it to St. George, or what are some of the things that we could do differently? But would you reach out to them and just let us know?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a lot different with that, Robert. A virtual listing presentation is
True.
Pretty much you take whatever you do on your listing presentation and convert it into a PDF and present it through a Zoom conference.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
really a lot of times that's going through the market, right? That's the thing that we have a hard time virtually is walking through the market with them.
Yeah.
And our marketing.
Right. And what we do differently. And that's the thing, is that we could jump in there, and since we don't know the people that are presenting, if somebody feels like they can't pipe up or ask questions, we might be able to just get back together as a group and discuss what we learned, and then give it to potentially some agents that weren't able to jump on it. We could kind of have another discussion after the fact to kind of go through what we learned. So that's a good point, Jesse. Most of it should be about the same. There's some uniqueness that we'll all have in how we do it, but I think there's some good tips and tricks and a base system that we can work off of, just like that virtual open house. You don't have to do every single detail in there, or you could do every single detail and some, but it's good to have some baseline that we can draw from, so we don't have to create it, right? The less that we can create from scratch, the better, because that'll free us up to be doing what our most important thing, which everybody on this call should know. What's the most important thing that we should be doing in real estate?
Lead gen.
Prospecting, lead generation, right? Talking to people about real estate. Marlene is posting in the chat about Bill Crespo and Jackie Kravitz. They're trainers, they're coaches. They're doing a 3-week class. Today is day 2. She's sending, actually, Marlene, if you get a chance, will you jump that into maybe the Facebook page? Instead of just emailing individually, let's throw it into the Facebook page so everybody can have access to it. And again, if you're not part of that Facebook group page, let me know, we can jump you in. I know a lot of us don't use Facebook on a daily basis. We just needed a single source where everybody can go to get information, and that way I'm not sending you 55 gazillion emails, right? If we could just throw it in the Facebook page, you guys can go back to it when you get a chance. But uploading files and stuff in there is really easy. So thank you, Kaylee, for bringing that up. Jesse, I appreciate that. What else have we been learning, guys?
There's a Facebook group. I don't know if all of you are on there. It's called Pivot Shift Ahead. They do some killer videos every morning. They do a different page or chapter on the book Shift.
Yeah, so Jesse jumped in a little bit late. So yeah, Jesse, I brought that up. I'll post, let me share my screen again. If for those that might have missed it.
Yeah, they are killer.
So this is the page right here. So Pivot Shift Ahead, it's a private group. I try to invite as many people as I can when I see people that I know that are in the industry and invite them to it. So Sherry, I just added you. I'm definitely not, if you guys like Joe Newman, I'm not going to invite him. Karen, Peter's in the business. I think Candace, I've already invited Candace to it a couple of times. So yeah, there's a lot of different great stuff on here for Pivot Shift Ahead. Thanks, Jesse, for bringing that up again, just in case. Shauna, I got you. I'll add you. Okay, what else are we learning, guys? What else are we practicing? What else are we hearing?
I guess I'll jump on again.
You're training. I love it.
Yes, I have training every day, and I'm actually taking classes right now to get my license, so I'm doing classes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I took this class. It was about basically how to use campaigns right now, and a lot of it was focused on like social media and using that as like your main tool. Well, not obviously like a main tool, just because you got to be careful on how you use it. But yeah, like I took a lot of really good information from it. Just one thing off the top of my head, they said that 80% of Americans today are on Facebook every day. Like, that's a lot of people. So I mean, it's a great source to, actually get some lead gen out of it, and just all the different things that they were talking about. Just, be more like what Bomb was saying, just more personable, and just, really putting yourself out there right now, because, not everyone wants to see a COVID-19 update like every single day. Like, that gets really old for a while. I'm sick of it, honestly. And it was really awesome. And it was really cool seeing all the different people collaborate on it, because there was a person from Maryland, Texas, Tennessee, and I think another one from like Louisiana. It was just very interesting just seeing everyone's different take on it and the unity with it. I don't know. It was really cool.
Yeah, Facebook is a unique tool. A lot of you know that I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, and I took his advice about 12 months ago to stop listening to him and just go and do what he's been telling everybody to do for the last 10 years. And what his basic theory around social media is this, is it's all about creating content. Social media has evolved out of this actual social interaction page, right? If we're on social media for being social and connecting with our friends and talking to them about politics and COVID-19 and sharing Tiger King memes, we're using it wrong as business people, right? So if I'm not a business person, if I'm not an entrepreneur, I don't own a business, but maybe I'm just an hourly worker or I'm in school, social media is great for that. But us as business people, we need to be using social media as a business tool. When we get on there, every time we get on there, we're using it as a business tool. Everything we post has to have something business in mind. Every time we post something authentic, the idea is that you're doing that authenticity to show your clients and the people that are seeing your content that you're a real human, that you're not a robot or an actual bot just posting on social media every day. There's a few agents out there that I follow. I've never seen anything personal. Every single post I see is something to do with real estate in every single way, shape, or form. Most of them are static images. Using social media based on what that platform is geared towards is kind of an art, right? Facebook isn't just a photos platform. Facebook is more of a video and photo interaction platform. Instagram is the photo platform. So if you're trying to just post photos and images, that goes on Instagram. It doesn't just go on Facebook. Facebook has a combination. it's a more complex platform to reach out to your clientele, right? You want to do polls, you want to do videos, you need to have image posts, you have to have interactive posts. Instagram is solely photos and a little snippets of video. Twitter, only copy, right? Just writing. Putting pictures in Twitter, you're missing the point and why people go to Twitter, right? So when we're thinking about using social media, we need our business message not only to match the social profile and the social platform, but it also needs to be geared always toward business. We get on social media for business purposes. We don't get on there to scroll for hours on end. We get on there to engage, right? Actually write comments, engage with the people that you know and you interact with on a daily basis, to post relevant content to you, the time, the day and age, and also something to do with real estate. And you got to sprinkle real estate and sales in there, right? So using social media as a business tool is the way we need to focus on social media, not as a place that you go and mind-numbingly scroll for hours. Bless you, Laren. You're welcome. So that's what we want to do, is make sure that when we're on that social media page, we're posting genuine, authentic pieces, and we're on there for business. We're not on there to just mind-numbingly scroll. Does anybody disagree with me on that, or see something differently?
No, not at all. And actually, one thing that I took away from Family Reunion actually was to pick 3 to 5 things that you're passionate about and you can't shut up about, and use those as your main sources of what you talk about on social media. So like for we've been focusing a lot on shifting our social media to that. And so Holly, she's actually been working on some videos of her and her husband going out writing, because that's just something that they love to do and they do it all the time. And so she's coming up with a bunch of different stuff that she's passionate about, and that's really going to show, our database and more people a different side of Holly. And that she's a lot more relatable, and that she likes doing different stuff. It's not just real estate.
Right. And something I took, David Alderman was on one of these calls a couple weeks ago. David and I are pretty good friends, and something that I took from him when I first got into business, he's the reason I joined KW. I wish he was part of KW when I joined, because he'd be my sponsor, because he gave me my first MREA, and I gave that to a new agent the same way he gave it to me. I gave my copy that he gave me to another agent. And that's how I got into this business. And one thing that he did when I first got here, his weekly newsletter is about this much real estate and all kinds of stuff that David loves, because he's so passionate about it. And what that does is, if we go back to like our sphere, our database, our sphere of influence, it being this circle, right, of so many people, what he's done though is that his engagement based on his newsletter and what he likes, he sifts out people that don't like things or don't see the world like him. So he has this really tight-knit group of people in his database that everybody sees things the same way. They all have the same beliefs. They all enjoy the same things. And so that's the way he markets. As much as he'd like to be this vanilla, he probably wouldn't like to be it, but a lot of us want to do this vanilla generic strategy around business. A lot of times that spreads yourself too thin and makes you unauthentic. It's probably much more, I know for a fact, it's much more powerful to cultivate your tribe around the things you're passionate about. And you're going to weed out people you don't want to do business with. And you're going to weed out people that you don't connect with. And the ones that you do connect with, you'll have a much stronger connection to. And they're going to be much more likely to refer you out to their friends, use you on transactions that might be laydowns, right? I mean, Jeremy Larkin, for years, I'd get a phone call and they'd be like, oh, I want to list my house. I already have the house I already have that I want bought. I want you guys to help me with get it to the end, right? It's a full, it's almost just like a lay down, just like come in and I'll just give you money because I love what you do and I trust that you're going to do it at the top level, right? And the more you can hone in on who you are and you cultivate your database around those things, the better referrals you'll get, the more consistent business you'll get, which if we talk about a lot of our top agents that use mainly repeat referral business, Bob, Jeremy, the Langston Shaw, all three of them at their team, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other agents that really deal with mainly repeat referrals, is if you start asking them, their clients are a lot like them. They enjoy the same things, they have the same interests, And it's an easy phone call to make because you're like, I could talk to you about something because I know exactly what you like. But if we don't have this forward conversation with them and post on social media and see who gets engagement from the things we post, we're not going to know who really is in our close-knit tribe. And potentially we're wasting our time on all these people outside of it that aren't really going to give us business or don't really care what we're doing, right? So I love this idea of using this moment in time to dive into that database and specifically target the things that you're passionate about and you can't shut up about, and cultivate your tribe around that. Okay. What else?
I do. Hey,
Jeremy.
what's up, guys? I'm glad you were there to with your catcher's mitt to catch all those clients, by the way, at that time. You guys are awesome for being on here. I wanted to capstone what you're saying about social, at least from my perspective, and then share, because you asked for some training, some that we did with our team this morning. Social media, I think the balance is, like, if you're only running business on your personal page, people start to go, geez, man, stop, right? And if you're only ever, like he's saying, doing Tiger King memes, which are fun. I had quite a busy post the other night with a Tiger King comment because I said, hey, I sat down and watched the first 2 episodes. That's all I needed to say.
But he missed the craziness happens after those first 2 episodes. Anyway, I won't go into that.
That's the start. Oh, we'll be going to number 3. So I couldn't look away. It was just too good. So if you look at, and you can do whatever you want, but if you look at my personal page, you'll find a balance. So I'm always trying to really intentionally balance business, radio shows, whatever, with stupidity kind of mixed in, which is, of course, keeping my personality in there first and foremost. And you're right, it's not, social media isn't for scrolling. And boy, do we get sucked into that. The other thing I want to share is, I'm going to link it in the comments right now for you. Kevin Ward is one of my favorite trainers. Kevin Ward and Tom Ferry are my 2 kind of go-to guys. And
Kevin Ward's hard to look at. Kevin Ward's hard to look at.
Well, he's a pretty bald guy. He's not bald and beautiful. He's just bald. He had a video from 10 days ago, how realtors can adapt for buyers and sellers during coronavirus. And in a way, you'd be like, oh, this is kind of out of date. But there were 3 key points in there that I would just point out. He talked about coyotes versus dinosaurs, and he said, you notice coyotes adapt to anything. They'll move right into your neighborhood with you. If the city comes in, they'll just come right into the city. They don't care. And the dinosaurs went extinct. They were big, and they were bad, and they were strong, and they were extinct. But coyotes just thrive everywhere. So he said, are you going to be a coyote or a dinosaur? And what he went on to say is, Tom Ferry calls it economic Darwinism. There you go, Robert.
That's solid.
I'm going to go off a video in 1 second. Hey, guys, because I'm doing 10 things at once. It's distracting. So economic Darwinism, he said, it's not the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest. It's those who will adapt will survive this. And I love that because we're like, how do I compete with all the big players? You don't have to. You just have to compete with yourself. Number 2, he talked about captaining your ship, and he bought a sailboat that he was taken off of the Texas coast a while, decades ago. And when he went out with the instructor, the wind tipped that sailboat, way over, like it was almost to hit the water. And then he was freaked out and thought they were going to die. And he turned, and the instructor is smiling and kind of giving him a thumbs up. And he said, when I saw the captain's calmness, like, hey, this is what we do, I was fine. And then he ended up saying to Kevin after, he said, oh yeah, this has an anti-tip mechanism. When it gets low enough, the sailboat will turn and it'll catch the sail and tip it upright. You're just fine. And so we need to be the captain for our clients right now. And there was a dialogue that I was actually going to share in those Facebook groups. I'll probably record it, and then if you guys find it useful, that I shared with the team, which was, hey, Robert, I know you're freaked out and stressed out and you decided not to buy or sell today, assuming you decided that. Here's what I know, Robert. This too shall pass. So let's make a plan. When the dust settles and the smoke clears, what would you like to do then? And that is a strong dialogue for you to show up for your clients and not push them and not force their hand and honor whatever they want to do right now. At the same time, you're being the captain. You're calm because you're freaked out. Because you're like, hey, Mr. Buyer and Seller, I get it too. This is scary. And we don't know when the end of this is. So hopefully those are some nuggets from Kevin that you can run with.
Yeah, solid. I like Kevin Ward. Most new agents, if you've been a new agent while I've been the team leader, I always go to, it's called the Book of Yes. And it's a really good, just if you look at it, a building, the framework of what scripts and dialogue should be, that's what he gives you. And then he says, now go fill in the finishes, go put drywall on it, go zhuzh it up with some design work. The basic scripts is right out of that book. Kevin Ward does an incredible job breaking down. He's an ex-KW agent. He's kind of gone on to create his own brokerage and coaching empire. But he learned a lot. Most of the stuff that he teaches coincides really good with what KW kind of drives on a regular basis. That was really good, Jeremy. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Any other thoughts on that?
Just that I think Kevin Ward is kind of handsome in a way, but maybe I'm a little biased.
Are you guys twins? Is he like a long lost cousin of yours?
That's good. He's just he's a funny guy. He's hard for me to watch and listen to a long time. I read most of his stuff, but I shouldn't make fun of people.
It didn't hurt my feelings. It's okay.
Thanks, Nate. Kathy, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so I do agree with Jeremy. I've got a couple of clients that are buyers and they're nervous about the economy and where we're headed. And I actually told them, if you don't feel good about it, then we can wait. A lot of people think that the market's going to go down, but my conversation is, but what if it doesn't? What if the prices don't go down, but the interest rates go up? Are you going to regret that in a month from now or 2 months from now that you didn't do anything? And if the answer is no, then let's wait. If the answer is yes, then we might want to reconsider buying at this point. But also back to the conversation that you had about Facebook and building relationships, it's really no secret how much I love boats and I'm into my boats. I formed a relationship with Roger up at Rogers Performance Center, and that they are my best clients. Like the referrals that I get from those guys it keeps me going. So I think that, like you were saying, find the things that you love to do and then find people that can help you in your business that are associated with that, because that's what it's about. Those guys latched on to me because they know how much I love boats, and they do too. So there's some commonality there.
Are you getting him food, or
Who was that? Somebody said something?
were you gonna get him food?
We could barely hear you.
Yeah, that's what he's.
Oh, I think that's somebody else. Okay, so that's a great point, Kathy. Absolutely. You can surround yourself with the people, the interested things that you like. They're going to come and pay that off. So where are we at on time here? 12:46. So I wanted to have some action items that I think you guys should take away from today, and then I want you all to chime in and say, hey, what are the things you're going to do today to impact your business? And the reason I say this is that I'm going to give you a quick statistic. So on Monday, as you know, or some of you know, I get on a call with about 12 to 1,700 executive leadership team members, meaning market center staff, whether it's a team leader, MCA like Dina, brokers from across the country, and internationally. We have a bunch of people internationally that Zoom in or get on a webinar is what it is, and talk about what's going on in the market. So this last week, Josh Team jumped in, the president of KW, and he said Command has gone bonkers with usage over the last 3 weeks. And the reason why, a lot of agents are cutting a lot of their expenses and using the tools that we already provide them so they don't have to spend any extra money, right? So all the agents take this opportunity to jump into the tools and systems that we have in place. So on top of that, they're tracking two things. They're tracking opportunities, meaning deals that we've been working on over the last 60, 90 days, and how they're closing. So they have a typical fallout rate, 7 to 10%. So there's not been a spike in deals falling apart. I know each one of us individually feels differently. Some people have a bunch of deals falling apart. Others, like me, I haven't had a single deal fall apart because of this. So we all have different perspectives, but at 180,000 agents at the 30,000 foot viewpoint, there's no spike in deals falling apart right now. And that's because the work that we did 30, 60, 90 days ago is all closing right now, right? All of the work we did when there was no crisis, so to speak, all those are still closing. And all of us agents are doing great jobs keeping those things together and mitigating the fears of our clients as best we can. So there hasn't been a big spike of collapsed deals. However, what they are seeing is that agents are not adding to their pipeline. They've seen a 70% drop in agents adding new contacts and new opportunities into the pipeline. So we post that market update every single day, and we see 23 new listings and 23 new closings today. Well, what we're seeing is that at the 30,000 foot view, that is starting to tank. The actions we do today is going to impact us in 30, 60, 90 days, right? So we have to stay focused on filling that pipeline, right? Having that conversation like Jeremy just had, where it's saying, I understand you're concerned or you're nervous about making a move. And when all the dust settles, let's come up with a plan so that you can take advantage of if the market's shifted, and if the market hasn't shifted, we can approach that. And maybe we take it 30 days at a time. Let's look at it in a month and see where the market's at. Let's look at it in 60 days and see where the market's at. And that way we as agents can stay in front of our clients and also take a proactive approach about filling our pipeline. We can't let a 60 to 70% decrease in pipeline ads happen at our level, right? Locally, we can't have that happen. Nobody wants to see in May and June no deals coming, right? Especially in our area where we're open. That's where our peak is, because we're going to start to slow down up through fall. We need to start adding to our pipeline now, knowing that it might not be a 30-day contract, and it might not even be a contract today, but the follow-ups and the conversations we're having with new people today are going to impact us in May and June, and we can't let that happen. So we look at it at the market center level as to what everybody's doing. We're seeing a decrease in opportunities created. Now, full usage of the system, right? We only get to see command, right? I can't see if you're using Top Producer or Boomtown. However, you as individual business owners need to look at that. What does my pipeline look like today? Because what your pipeline looks like today is what your closings look like in 30, 60 days, 30, 60, 90 days, okay? So we have to stay focused on that. So us at KW, especially United Agent Services, we said, what is the first thing we can do? We've had to cut out our Death by Chocolate. We've had to cut out client events because we can't huddle together. So some of you saw the email on Friday and my posts yesterday. The first thing I need all of you agents to do is take some actions. So we're having a client event. It's a virtual client event, and everybody needs to go into their database and add people to this client event, okay? So hashtag KW Color, everybody can participate. You can invite all of your clients, people you know, get them on a follow-up plan, get their kids coloring and get them entered into this drawing. $100, $50, $25 for the winners. It's an easy way to connect with your clients saying, hey, in this virtual world, we have had to postpone a lot of our virtual client events that I had planned this spring. So instead, we're going to do something for you while you're stuck in your house. We're going to do and you're stuck with your kids, right? I'm stuck with my kids. Let's get them coloring, get them doing some stuff. Have them jump onto that website that's posted in Facebook and in your email, and let's get engaged with your clients on a specific event that you can call them about, rather than just calling them and talking about, hey, how you doing? Yeah, this virus sucks. Oh, you're out of your job. That sucks, right? Let's call them and say, hey, let's have some positivity. Let's do some fun things. You know, they can color with their kids. They can't enter, but because it's a kids event, they can color with their kids, get engaged in it, have some fun with your clients and jumping in there, okay? So this is an easy thing you could do. You don't have to organize it. You don't have to do any of the drawings. You don't have to be in charge of who wins, who loses. All you got to do is invite to it and then engage with your clients that do it, right? If that's building your tribe of people, let's engage with the people that are actually doing it and following up just like we would any other client event. Number 2 is rebudgeting your business, okay? So I did that Pay Yourself First video. I was just talking about that. We need to rebudget our business for the next 12 months, right? We did a budget back in November, December, January. Everybody's got to understand, I'm going to have to rebudget, okay? We have to anticipate a 30% cut in expenses. We have to anticipate that. And Kathy said, you know, we don't know what will happen. We don't have a crystal ball. Yet when it comes to your expense line and money going out the door, liquidity right now is king. Those who have cash in their pocket today to be able to use in the future are going to win. The ones that are spending all their money now and not know if that money's coming in later, is going to be hurting later, right? We have to prepare now while the sun is shining for potentially if the storm comes. If the storm doesn't come, you're sitting on a fat stack of cash that you can go spend and dive back into your business, right? But we need to think slashing our expenses by at least 30%. That's coming from Gary all the way down through the brokerages, through individual agents. You'll see more and more articles about businesses cutting expenses and cutting things out of their business that they didn't need before. We need to rebudget your business and saying, I planned on spending this much. I'm actually going to not spend that much. I'm going to hold that money now. Lead with revenue. Lead with actions on gaining more business and cut some expenses. So you guys need to rebudget your business. Take this time to really focus on that. And then the last thing is building out a 411. So at Family Reunion, this was a huge takeaway for a bunch of agents, was focusing on specifically what your goals are. Okay, so I have over there on the wall, you can, I muted myself, on the wall right there. That's our 135 for the brokerage, meaning our number one goal, our 3 goals that are going to support that goal, and then my 5 strategies around how we're going to attain that goal, right? So I have that on my wall. I look at every day. A 411, for those that don't know, I will pull this up and share my screen. This is out of the Shift, the new Shift training called Spark. And this is a 411 template. So it's a goal setting tool that you're going to use. It's a day in the life of a real estate agent. Okay. So this is already shared in that Facebook group. So I want everybody to jump into that Facebook group and look at the files. And then it says, the title of it is Ignite Toolkit. So this is a 411 goal, action goal sheet. You're going to want your annual goal by year. Get very specific. Not, I want to close 50 deals, right? I want to net towards my pocket and a certain amount of money. I want to help this many families find a new home. Get very, very specific about what your annual goal is. Monthly goals to help achieve that goal. So break it down, right? If we have a 12-month goal, we're going to break it down of what do I need to do every single month. And then weekly goals, to support that monthly goal, right? So week 1, within this month, I need to do this. Week 2, I need to do this. This 411 and having this right in front of you every single month, and you're changing this out once a month, will keep you from getting distracted around all the things that can come up in your business that have nothing to do with what your most important thing is. And what is the most important thing? Everybody say it together.
Cash money.
And lead gen.
Lead gen, cash money. Lead generation equals cash money, says Nate Schaefer. Lead generation. We have to go out and contact clients. We can't be afraid to get on the phone. As of today, this is the perfect tool. You could call 7,000 people today and talk to them about this KW virtual event, and it's not weird. Everybody's sitting at home. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's stuck at home. They will answer their phone. I promise you. I've had more people answer their phone in the last 2 weeks than I've ever had answer their phone. Business people that never Jeremy Larkin. I never get a hold of Jeremy. He answers almost every time I call, and he's busy. I don't know why he's answering now. We're all answering our phones. We're all sitting at home. We're all stuck there. We're all going to need to jump into this opportunity. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of the phone. Don't be afraid of your clients. You don't know what to say. Jump in, invite them to the virtual event, and have a forward conversation, right? Ask them about their family. Ask them about their job. Ask them what they're doing for fun in this crazy ass time. And what are their dreams? What are their goals for the next 30, 60, 90 days once all the dust settles? If you could do those 3 action items, I know we can drive through the tough time and get on the other side and all have a ton of business and take a ton of market share, okay? What else you guys got? Who else got anything to say? Comments, concerns? Everybody's muted. Let's go, guys. I want to have a great day. I want to end on a high note. So somebody end with one good thing. Don't make me tell you.
I'm taking a new listing today.
That is a good thing. Anybody else? I had 3 closings in the last week. So that was solid for me. I needed that. Okay, guys, go after it. I hope you found today helpful. Jump on those Facebook groups. You guys have a great day. Text, email me with questions, and have a great one. See you guys.
Thanks, beautiful.
Thank you.
Ah,
Thank
thanks,
you,
pal.
Robert.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. I miss you guys.
Oh, I got kisses. I'm hearing kisses out
Kissed.
there.
Who was that?
There's kisses.
Thanks, Robert.
See you later.
Okay, no, I just
Just leave meeting down to the right.
Hey, I just want everybody to leave so you and I can have our own private meeting.
Yeah, I like it. What are you doing right now?
I'm actually working on listing intake forms for 3 listings at once.
Whoop, whoop. Hey,
Yeah.
Katie Gardner, if you're still on, you can stop the recording.